Hey guys, Matt Hoots here. I'm with Sal with Bosch. They have come out, just like everybody else. We've got a cool hybrid heat pump water heater. So thanks for, and you guys said this has been out for about a year now.
It's been out for a year. I'm Sal Bernetto. I'm the national sales manager with Bosch on the hydronic side of the business. And we rolled out the GreenTronic 7000T about a year ago. We've had extraordinary success, a lot of interest in the unit. It's something new, it's something different.
Now I've seen, I know you guys have the tankless systems. I've seen those before. Our clients have gone with those, and we've also used your appliances, great appliances. You've got a great brand. So a little bit about this, and we used to be a solar dealer, and this is kind of how I got into hot water heating. Is like we're looking to put solar panels on the roof. You had to run refrigerant through that, and kind of exchange the heat with that. Those are very expensive. I mean, on the low side is like $8,000 to $10,000.
Sure.
On the high side, even with the tax credits, you save a few grand. What I love about the hybrid heat pump water heaters, these are accessible at a good price point for pretty much everybody.
Certainly. And what we're doing here is electric tank water heaters are very efficient already. They're about 97% efficient, meaning that almost all the energy, all the electrical energy is going into the hot water production, right? Going into the tank. So from here on down, what you're looking at here is a 50-gallon electric water heater, 2 elements, 30 amp service.
Wow.
Pretty much run-of-the-mill. That's what it's been like for the past 2 decades. As we said, pretty efficient, almost 100% efficient. What we're doing here by adding heat pump technology, we're able to increase that efficiency to 4 times what a standard electric tank is doing. Now, how does heat pump technology work? We're taking heat from the ambient air. A day like today, there's a lot of heat in the air. And we're putting that heat using the heat pump refrigeration technology. We're taking that heat, putting it into the water. And that's how we can achieve COPs of about 4.0.
What I really like about this, we installed one of these in our house, and like with the old, even the gas one, like we got rid of the gas hot water heater, or water heater, and it comes out hot, it comes in cold. So like we say hot water heater, you're not heating up hot water, you're heating up cold water. But with this, like in the mornings, we've never had any complaints. We've got 4 or 5 people, 3 boys, plus me and a wife, like taking showers, getting ready in the morning. Great recovery rate. So that's what I like about the hybrid heat pump technology. Is like you've got the heating strip in there if you need it, but the hybrid is the primary source of heat for that.
That's a very good point. So the digital display does a lot of things, but it allows you to fine-tune it. So what you're saying, Matt, is you can, depending on the home and the application, the contractor can really dial that heater in. If it's somebody living alone, heat pump is probably all they need to keep that tank hot. A bigger family is going to need that horsepower that the electric elements bring to it. And what you can do with this water heater is you can choose heat pump only. You can choose electric only. Not sure why you would want to do that when you have the heat pump technology, but you can choose heat pump as the lead or the primary, or the electric elements as the primary with heat pump as a backup. So you can truly dial it into the application and to the needs of the family. What we do have built in is not only the digital display, but demand response, something that's really required. So that's already built in. The utility company can communicate to the heater.
Oh, nice.
We have vacation mode, so that you can set your return date, and the heater will be ready for your family when you return. So during the vacation mode, no energy is being used.
So that demand you're talking about, that's where they can actually turn off certain things in your house, like when you've got peak loads, you're really not going to need hot water during that time anyway, because that's usually what, 3, 4, or 5 o'clock at night, or in the afternoon.
Sure.
You're not using. Most people are using most of the hot water in the morning, maybe a little bit in the evening for showers and stuff like that. So I can imagine. And well, you can turn it off, but you still got pretty good insulation here. Like what is like how many degrees do you lose per hour?
It's
like 1 maybe.
It's half a degree.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So
I'll say that again. Half a degree per hour of standby loss. Really tiny. But you bring up a good point. The utility company can not only turn it on and off, but it can adjust the set point temperature.
Okay.
There's some utilities that have excess power. So there is that ability in conjunction with the installer to maybe increase the set point and use the water heater as a battery in the overall utility system. So that's something that's required, and of course we're going to have it, and it allows the utility company to transmit directions to the water heater.
Georgia Power doesn't do that, do they?
Georgia Power does not, but the utility companies that do it will offer a discount.
Got it.
So it reduces your bill a little bit. So
I mean, it sounds good, but also sounds scary. Like what if they adjust the set point in the middle of the shower? It's like, ooh, like a little bit too hot.
Well, with a tank, obviously the difference is going to be a little less dramatic. But there are strategies using mixing valves to mixing valves to actually increase the set point, but obviously deliver a colder temperature.
Now I know you make different types of water heaters as well. So I've heard some people experimenting like using this with the tankless. Like this is like maybe preheating for a tankless. I mean, have you heard it just to get more?
There's a lot of strategies like that, or using tankless to store hot water.
Yeah.
For those big loads, for that big draw. This would work in conjunction with all of that. There's many strategies, but Matt, there's something you haven't asked me about.
Oh yeah.
Since we're taking heat out of the air using the refrigerant cycle and putting heat into the water, what is the byproduct of that? And the byproduct is cooling. So the exhaust is actually cold air. This unit will do about 7,000 BTUs per hour, which is a little over half a ton of cooling and dehumidification. Now, in Georgia, we have our water heaters in the garage. So my garage, like yours, is probably 120 degrees most of the year.
Yep.
By putting this in the garage, not only can we harvest that heat, but we're creating some cool air that now I can duct that cool air into my living space.
So actually, I was going to bring that up. One of my friends, he has an electric, he has an EV, and he says he puts it in his garage, and it actually overheats because there's not a natural cooling system that the battery gets too hot. He put his hybrid heat pump water heater, and this is where I got the idea, in his garage. It actually helps keep his EV cool during the summer.
That's right.
So who knew that the two technologies, I would have never thought like your water heater and your electric car would work together, but it's amazing.
It's a great sort of byproduct of the refrigeration cycle. We're moving heat around, right?
Yep.
And so by doing that, we're adding, up to a little over half a ton to the garage in this case, or maybe adding dehumidification to a basement. Where that's so one of the things that a plumber will look at this and see as being new is the condensate drain on the heater. So we're all familiar with condensate drains on tankless water heaters, condensing products of any kind. This heater will have that condensate, but it's not acidic. It's just simply water.
Exactly. Well, so we installed it in our garage. It was really nice. It's like you're coming in on a hot summer day. We put it right next to the door that comes off the garage into the kitchen.
Beautiful.
You can just feel the cool air.
There you go.
It's like the kind of pre-cooling a little bit.
Right.
And also just we ran that. We had a utility sink, just ran right into the utility sink. So I think it's a great idea putting it in garages because those garages have so much heat. You're basically getting free energy for practically free energy for your hot water heater.
Yeah. You're moving that heat around efficiently. You're getting some dehumidification as well.
Yep.
And another great feature of the GreenTronic is built-in leak detection. So the unit will sense a leak in the pan, for instance, or any moisture at the bottom, and with an accessory, any accessory, we can shut off the cold water feed to the heater, giving that homeowner a little bit of extra assurance when they're away, right? All water heaters leak when you're not there.
Yeah, of course, they're
designed that way.
Well, also, these daggum architects, they're not giving me room they're not giving me mechanical room. So I'm working on a set of plans right now. I was like, where are we supposed to put it? Like, put it in the basement. I'm like, that's in a flood zone. Your house just flooded. I can't put it down there. Plus, that's outside the building envelope. We've got an insulated roof line. It's like, well, we might end up putting it in the attic, putting a pan there. But the nice thing about, I don't like putting water in an attic, but you've got the leak detection on this. And also the other thing about putting it in the attic is all that warm, moist air goes to the attic if you've got that insulated roof line. this can help
Why not?
decrease the water vapor. So
Why
it's
not?
actually helping with the building performance of the house and taking care of another problem for us.
It can probably only help.
I know.
Most
so
likely.
It's perfect.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing this information.
Matt, thank you. Great
All right,
meeting
thanks,
you.
Al.